guess it would be somewhat similar to how like Dragon Ball, how they have like the Dragon Ball verse, but then you have like stories of like where Goku is the center, or you can have a story where Gohan is the center, you can have a story where Trunks is the center. That's kind of like what I'm trying to create, kind of like a Tolkien type of world, but it's kind of like a mixture of like all different types of cultures and not just like the traditional like medieval fantasy kind of world.
Right.
But like I would say like the general elevator pitch for like this story that I'm writing is basically there's a world and there is like a human world and an angel world that were separated. And then the God of the universe to separate this world because of the animosity between humans and angels to stop them from like destroying the entire universe, split the world. But in my verse, every spell, every action, or like every like magical ability has a equivalent drawback. So the drawback to splitting the universe was that the god's body himself was split into 7 parts, and he has to wait for a couple hundred years for his body to reunite. And now one of the angels is trying to gather all of these parts, kind of like how they like look for the Dragon Balls, gather all of these parts to put it inside himself so he can become God. But a lot of other characters are also trying to get the runes and put them inside themselves so they can have the power of the god to do the things that they want to do. Right. So the main character's father is trying to use it to like reverse his wife is dead. So he wants to use the power of God. To, like,
he wants to do what?
He wants to use it for like a resurrection spell. So like to use the power of God to resurrect somebody who he cares about who has died. So it's like kind of like a race against time kind of thing. And the way that the main character is caught up in all of this is because after the fallen angel who like basically betrayed his like job, decided to go after the runes to make himself God, the other angels discovered that what they can do is they can hide the runes inside of the souls of humans. And because humans don't have the same amount of spiritual energy as angels, it becomes essentially undetectable. So now the main character has a rune inside of his body, and his father is looking for all of the other runes to bring his wife back to life. So he's kind of caught up in this game where everyone is looking for the runes, where his life is in danger because he also has a rune. So someone is going to try and kill him, kind of thing. So the general premise is that all these different factions are looking for the runes for their own benefit.
Okay. I like it. I like that. That's
peak,
really good.
Bro,
That's
peak.
really good.
This shit is fucking peak. Say
I
that
got a
shit with
question
your
for
chest,
you,
bro.
ND. I got a question for you,
Yes,
ND.
sir. Got you.
What is Rua, bro? What is Rua, bro?
So Rua in my series, it's basically like my version of spiritual energy. But what's unique about Rua is that it's not like only humans have Rua or only angels have Rua. It's like the essence of life. Everything in the universe has Rua, and like generally speaking, humans have less Rua than angels, and animals have less Rua than humans. Plants have less Rua than animals, right? But like obviously there are going to be anomalies within the world, and magic basically is the ability to channel your Rua by using an incantation. That's what like magic is. However, you can still use Rua if you don't know how to use magic. For example, like I said, objects have Rua. So if you have like material, like let's say like some kind of ore or like material from like a volcano, that's going to have that has Rua in itself. So you can like sort of channel the Rua from this like volcanic rock and use like magma and fire abilities from it without using your own Rua, right? So I feel like what's cool about it is that you can come up with all these creative ways to utilize this. For example, if you have like an animal, like a dinosaur that has Rua, right? If you can tame that dinosaur, you can make it like fight for you, kind of thing. So you don't actually have to know how to use magic, but you have this like powerful beast that can fight on your behalf. So I think that's like an interesting idea that I came up with. And something else that I think is really cool is kind of like I sort of based this a little bit off of like the Yu-Gi-Oh system. I don't know if you've ever played Yu-Gi-Oh, but like the stronger the monster or the stronger the effect, like the more impact it has, right? On like so like let's say like you want to summon this really powerful monster, you have to like sacrifice 4 of your monsters, right, to do that. So I kind of like tried to apply that logic to my power system where it's like you can use a really broken spell, but then you might die afterwards. So it's like every spell has an equivalent drawback. So
that makes sense.
You have to try to use your brain to try to figure out what is the biggest drawback that you're willing to deal with for the spell that you're trying to use.
So it's like an equivalent exchange, bro. Like you're putting equivalent exchange on the spells.
Nen power system, y'all better watch out, bro. That's all I gotta say. Y'all better watch the fuck out.
Hey. Bagashi who?
Andy, someone in the chat says, where can they read this?
You can read it on Global Comics. The website is called Global Comics. You can just look up Rune Symbol. Or you can also just go to the link in my bio on TikTok or Instagram, and it'll be there.
There it is.
Go check that out.
Okay.
Hold on. I got another question, Mello. Real quick.
Go ahead.
Got you.
So, all right. If we're gonna announce Rune Symbol with like a special effect voice on it, Rune Symbol, like how would we say it, bro?
How would we say
That's a good question.
How would we say it?
I feel like go on my IG story.
I feel like we would say it in the voice of like the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood narrator.
Or on
like
no
Rune Symbol,
IG,
like that.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. All right.
Okay, so my next question is for Rune Symbol. What goes into creating a chapter of Rune Symbol? Like, what is your monthly plan on how to create a chapter of Rune Symbol?
Right. So I'm gonna explain like what the traditional way to do it is, and then the way that I do it is. Right. So the expectation, right, is that you already have an outline for your entire story, which I have. I have an outline for the story, and then each point, like each arc, should be split up into like these like main key points, and then those main key points are then further split up into chapters. And after you split those chapters, then you want to go and put in like script that out, like the dialogue, script out every single panel separately. And then once you have that script, then you draw the pages, and then you take the script and you sort of insert it into the speech bubbles, and then you upload it. Obviously, the way I do it is I don't do any of that. Right? I have an outline and that's it. So when it's time, to write a chapter, I just whip out the page, and it's like I imagine the scene in my head, and I draw it and write it in the way that I imagine it in my head. So, but and it's because the way that my brain works is that I keep coming up with new ideas to like better do things. So if I script everything out, like the next day I will have completely rearranged the scene in my head, and then I'll have to like delete that and type it again, and then delete it and type it again every single, and it's just, I can't do that. So I just sort of just go off of what is in my head at the moment. But I think the drawback to that is like the dialogue can be a little bit wonky, and like the pacing for the scenes can be a little bit weird. But I think it sort of gives it like a very natural flow, in my opinion. It gives it like a much more like it makes it feel much more natural and not as like overly structured. Because I feel like when you're new to like writing, there's this tendency to be like when you're overly strict with your story, it seems a little bit too structured to the point where it doesn't feel like it doesn't flow naturally. It doesn't feel like these are real people who like exist in their verse. It just kind of feels like these are like NPCs with like.
I get what you say.
I never got that feeling.
I'm reading the one chapter, bro. I go to the next chapter, and I'm in a whole other place. I'm like, yo, like, did I miss something? So I definitely get I get it now, bro. Like now it's clicking in my. I'm like, how'd I end up in a bar? Now I'm looking for runes, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm here, like. But I get it now, bro. I get it.
Now that I know that you basically ad-lib the fuck out of every single chapter, not only one that just increases my respect for you on how you create Rune Symbol. Second of all, my second question is, how do you avoid plot holes with that kind of structure?
How do I avoid plot? I think that like because I have like an outline, and like I know like the rules, like generally speaking, like the rules of the magic system and rules of like, and I have like the timeline in my head. Like, of course, there's going to be like inconsistencies here and there, and like I really don't care about that too much. As long as like the main key elements of the story make sense and flow naturally, I don't really care if they're like, to be honest, I don't really care if there's like a plot hole here and there. That's inevitable. I mean, no matter how well you structure it, I mean, Naruto has a shit ton of plot holes and they structure the fuck out of it. So like, I feel like that's inevitable. And as long as it doesn't impact like the main story, it really doesn't matter.
Right.
That's true. That's true.
Lonely, let me see that bag. Let me see that bag, Lonely.
Do you?
Oh.
I wear this bitch every day,
I
bro.
like that. I like that bag, bro. I ain't mad at it.
I had to reach in there for something.
What the fuck is it called? Plot holes. Do you have do you have this power system that you have in your mind kind of written down, like, you know, the rules that need to go into the power system, or is it just kind of more or less thought about on off the dome, you know what I mean?
I don't have it written down, but like I know the rules. Like the rules are very simple. Like I just explained, it's just a bit greater so these are the general rules. Obviously, the stronger the spell, the stronger the drawback. That's like a rule that's never going to change. Another rule for it is if you like, every person has a set amount of Rua within their body. You can't use any spell that exceeds the amount of Rua that you have in your body, or you die. That's like that's a hard rule. That's like never going to change. And then the only other rule is that like every spell requires an incantation. So like the same way that Naruto, they have hand signs, every spell requires an incantation to use. Those are the only rules.
Right.
Everything else is just kind of like soft sort of like rules that vary depending on the type of spell that you're using.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay. Perfect. So someone in the chat says, what made you write it and do the art rather than split it up with like a co-creator?
I really think that like no one can really do your vision better than you can. So like,
amen.
And I was watching this like a YouTube video about the creative process, and it basically said that every creator or every person who is like a creative individual, they have a vision and then they have their skill. Now the struggle of every creator is to get your skill to match your vision. Because like if you have like a very specific vision for what you have in mind, you can't like telepathically communicate that to someone else, right? You can't. So like even if like at first you're not able to make with the skills that you have to make it match your vision, as long as you continue like working and practicing, eventually your skill will match your vision, and that's when like you will create your magnum opus, essentially.
Why is this man dropping the hardest bars of 2024 right now, bro? Dead ass, bro. That was a bar. That was a fucking bar. Okay. Perfect. Now, I guess that brings me into my next question. How does creating rune symbol deepen your appreciation for the medium of manga?
Bro, it deepens my appreciation so much, like to the point where I go to Barnes and Nobles like multiple times a week just to like look at art, like just look at just open mangas and just look at the art. Like I have like my entire book, like I have this Tokyo Ghoul on my desk. I have this Jump Comics. I'm looking at like Shaman King right now on my desk. I'm not reading it. I'm just like observing the art and just like
what
observing.
You know about
how, like,
Shaman King, bro? What you know about Shaman King, bro?
Bro, I love the art in Shaman King. I watched the anime when I was a kid. I gotta watch the new one though. I gotta watch the new one.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
look around you, look beyond.
Bro, I forgot the song, bro. I forgot it.
Oh, we could make an unbreakable bond.
Is what's like the main part?
World around you is not what it seems.
The fight to be shaman.
Shaman to be shaman. What you know? Shaman King, if your spirit is strong.
Bro, I forgot the words, bro.
Hanging, bro. Oh my!
I forgot the words, bro.
Oh my god!
Damn, I think it's time for a rewatch, bro.
That song was fire. You owe me a sing along, bro. Oh, I'm gonna
Oh, him
I'm
a
gonna
sing
relearn it.
along.
I'm gonna relearn it, and the next time I'm on here, we'll sing it.
Bet.
Hey, someone get the karaoke out, bro.
Yeah, bro.
So,
That's a
No,
banger,
and-
bro. That's a banger.
so
On all
someone,
seriousness, bro, I'd be like looking at art, and I just like observing like the decisions that artists make and the way that like they do things, and it's like things that like if you're not an artist, like you wouldn't even understand it. Like I was like the other day, like I bought this like Akira volume, and I was like showing my friends, and I was like, bro, I love the way that he does this. Like I love the way that like he does the line work. I love the weights on the lines, and he had like no idea what that meant. And it's like it's so hard to explain these like relatively like inconsequential details to someone who like doesn't do art or like Tokyo Ghoul. Like I like you probably won't even be able to see it, but I like how like on the pages, like he has these like random just like lines that don't actually mean anything, but they just add more like
more
intensity
grunge.
to the scene. It
Yeah.
just like these like random like white lines like all around the page, and it's like these like these things that, like if you're not an artist, you don't even think about it. And
Great.
it's just like just looking the way that all these different artists have just make all these different decisions, and I'm like, oh, I like that. I'm gonna take that. I like this. I'm gonna take this. So definitely has like changed the way that I look at art to the point where it's like a little bit obsessive.
I like that because I took a multimedia class in high school one time, and one of the things that we focused on is this. It was this video, and it's called "Everything is a Remix." It's basically saying that nothing is original, and that everything comes from some cultivation of like many different inspirations that came before it. You know what I mean? That everyone takes inspiration from everybody, and you know that's how great things can be made, because they take some of the best things from other things and bring them into one thing. And I think that's, you know, what you're doing with Rune Symbol, because obviously I like the series.
Rune Symbol.
But I also think something that's let me just say something real quick. But I also think something that's really like interesting that I've been trying to like do more is that I've noticed that like you said, nothing is original. Everything takes from something else. But like something that makes certain like works like stand out is that like as opposed to just taking from other works, right? They have, like I said, their vision, like their like soul, like the message they're trying to communicate, and they like intentionally find certain aspects of other writers and other artists who did that thing and like take bits and pieces and like match it and like build something new, kind of like Legos, right? You take different pieces of Legos and put it together to create something that reflects what you have in here, as opposed to just randomly putting different pieces of Legos together because they look cool.
Facts. Someone in the chat said, "When is Rune Symbol getting an anime, bro?"
I'm gonna be honest.
Might be soon, bro.
Hey man, I mean, shit. Someone made a fucking opening theme song, so like, I don't know. Someone might just fuck around and animate it. So I couldn't even tell you. If you asked me,
What's
I would
the opening
have
theme
said
song, bro?
Bro, I'm gonna send it to you afterwards. Someone on
Bro,
TikTok.
play that shit right now, bro. You
Bro,
talking about, bro?
Bro, let me find it. Someone on
Play
TikTok
that shit right
made
now.
a song in Japanese with the instrumental
It's
and
gas.
put it on TikTok and
I
tagged
heard
me.
it.
And it was like some dude with like 10 followers. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, how did you even make this? Like, what?
Hey,
So,
that's
like,
that's hella cool though.
I ain't gonna lie,
So,
bro.
like,
That
if
would have
you
blew
asked
my
me when
mind,
I'm
bro.
getting an anime, like, I would have said never, but then again, I also would have said I would never get an opening, and here I am with a fucking opening. So,
Nice.
shit.
Hey man, all I'm
I mean-
saying is that whoever animates the first chapter of Rune Symbol in a YouTube short version, yo, y'all are blowing the fuck up, bro. That's all I'm saying.
Bro, like I said, anybody who animates anything about Rune Symbol, you can take any liberties you want, and it's automatically canon. Put that out there. So whatever you animate is automatic. Like, if you put yourself in the series and make yourself the fucking strongest character in the verse, it's canon.
Yeah, I think you're giving people too much power.
So I see that you got like a main baddie group, right, bro? Like a main bad guys type.
Yeah,
Group.
yeah. But I think one mistake I did make, and sorry to cut you off, I introduced way too many characters in the beginning. Way too many characters.
Mhm.
So like now it's a real struggle to make every single character that I introduced have their like be interesting, have their own plot line, have their own backstory, and play an important role. Like if I could do it again, I would not introduce more than like 3 or 4 relevant characters in the first like arc.
Bro, I was reading it, bro. I'm like, yo, you're only one guy. I'm like, I see like, I don't know if it was like seven of them, and like the
Right.
wherever they were, it was like a bunch of them. They all cool ass designs, by the way. I want to ask
Thank
something about that. And I'm like, yo, bro. I'm like, yo, like my guy is going crazy. Like he's really. I'm like, each of these characters have their own abilities and their own backstory, and just you know what I'm saying. I'm like, yo, like that's real ambitious just for one guy, bro.
I fuck with my favorite characters. Aside from Asuke, definitely Blackmore. The head guy. What's his name? His first name?
Draken Blackmore.
Yep. That's my favorite character.
I haven't read much. I read the prologue and the first chapter, and then it was time to get on the pod.
Fair enough.
I'm a little
check it out
late.
whenever you got time.
Yeah,
also,
I definitely will.
Check out the one shot I did. It's like on my same like profile on Global Comics. Just click my profile, and then there's like a separate one shot that I did. I think that's like, in terms of writing, that's probably my best work so far. So I do want people to check that out.
Copy.
Okay.
Yo, I like how you put that. Oh, go ahead, bro. Go ahead. My bad.
Go ahead.
As a writer, because I also write, how can you convince yourself to just sit down and write? Because I have trouble just sitting down and just focusing on writing. Even though I have the ideas in my head and I want to write them down, I start writing and I don't know, I just get distracted. Because I've been working on this story for a little over a year now, and I'm only 4 chapters deep.
I think 2 things. One is that like, I think writing a series is almost like working out, right? Like, yeah, like I like going to the gym, I guess, but I don't like being on the treadmill every single day. I don't like lifting heavy weights every day, right? So it's like you like writing, but it's like, but the act of writing is not necessarily enjoyable. So I think it's like the making that like mental acknowledgement that yeah, this is not going to be a fun experience all the time, and it's okay to experience discomfort. And I think like people just need to like, because I feel like there's this like almost like assumption that like everybody who is like a writer or an artist, like they enjoy like actively doing the process all the time. And like it's like if I'm not having fun, then I'm just gonna stop. Like it's gonna suck sometimes, but you just have to do it in the same way that like sometimes you don't feel like going to the gym, but you're still gonna do it because you have to do it because you have a goal. And I think just like mentally just recognizing that just accepting that it's not gonna be fun all the time, but you still have to do it, helps. That's the first thing. And I think the second thing is like I saw someone on YouTube. He's a comic book writer and artist, Trent Kanyuga. I love his videos. He said that what he does is that he sets goals for himself every single day. And like, for example, like he'll set like a goal, like he'll write and draw 4 pages every single day. And that sounds like bizarre, but like he'll set like a certain amount of time within like this amount of hours. I have to do this amount of work. And he'll realize that like, instead of like micro focusing on making every single panel and every single page perfect, his goal is to just get 4 pages done. And then after he's done the whole project, then he can go back and be like, okay, well, this panel looks bad. I'm going to draw this again. This page looks wonky. I'm going to fix it up. I think progress is better than like focusing in on like this, like making sure like this one paragraph is perfect, you know, because it's never going to be perfect. Like no matter what, you're always going to see things. You're always going to see things that you don't like, but it's better to just finish everything and have a work and be like, okay, I finished this book. Now let me go touch it up. You know what I mean? So I think the obsession with perfection holds people back as well.
I agree. I definitely agree. Now, you know, in your old age, you know, being an unk and all, where do you see and or do you have a grand goal or vision with Rune Symbol series?
Do I have a grand goal? No. My goal has always been for people to read it and like it. That's it. Like if I get an animated series, awesome. If I become the new Toriyama, awesome. If I don't and I have one person who read it and liked it, I'm okay with that as well. So honestly, no, I don't.
Facts.
I like that, bro.
And to section that into another question, do you have any plans for any other works in the future?
I think, like I said, every work, yes, definitely yes. But I think every work that I do is going to be within the Rune Symbol verse because I think that the verse is so big that I can just like kind of situate every single story within that. It's kind of like the Yu-Gi-Oh series, where it's like you have multiple different series, but they're all within the same universe.
I'm telling you, bro. This
That
guy,
makes sense.
he's the boy, bro. I'm telling you, he's
Hey,
cooking, bro.
So-
He's cooking.
So Andy, let me ask you something, bro. Cause you know we knew you was gonna come on the pod, bro. So you know I have to check out
Right.
Rune Symbol, bro. And I had sent an artwork to the chat, and I was like, "Yo, this is fire." I'm like, "This is hard, bro." So I just wanted to ask you, like, do you take any inspiration from any other mediums, bro? Because you have a unique art style. I just want to know if you're taking inspiration from any other creators, mediums.
Yeah, so my original inspirations were definitely mostly like shonen anime.
Bros, what's
But
popping, G?
lately, I've been really looking into a lot of like Western comics as well, and also just like the aesthetic of like certain like movies. So like
Right.
I forgot the artist's name, but it's one of the guys who started Image Comics. I can't remember his name. It's not Todd McFarlane. It's the other guy. Um, he does a comic book. He did a comic book in the '90s called The Young Blood, and something about
Mhm.
like the way that the pages are and the characters are just so like intense. Like they're like almost like bursting out of the pages. Like I saw that and I was like, I want to incorporate that more in my artwork. So if you look at
Right.
like my one shot, for example, I have like a lot of pages where it's like like all of the characters and the fight scenes are just like outside of the panel. Like I want
Mhm.
to capture that intensity. Or like when I look at Tokyo Ghoul, the way that like he just has like random like lines and scribbles like on the page just to like
Right.
make it more intense. I take that and I try to incorporate it. So it's like anytime I see something in any medium that I like, or even like the facial expressions in like a lot of like Western like cartoons, I incorporated that in my one shot. So it's like I wouldn't say that I have an art style. I would say that I have like more of like a what's the word? Like an art toolbox where I have like all these
You said an
different
art PO
inspirations and all
box.
toolbox. Yeah, I have all these different inspirations and all these different like ideas inside the toolbox, and I just kind of like
Right.
pull it
Oh, a
out
toolbox.
when it's
Oh, okay.
necessary. Yeah. Toolbox.
Okay. I like that. 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 Yo,
Um,
also, since we're on the art, bro. I see you put in your creators notes. You were like, guys, don't mind the art. I was still learning, and I'm like, I was just laughing at that. I was like, yo, this dude is hilarious, bro. But because you were hating on yourself, but I'm reading the comments. People are like, yo, bro, the art is fire, bro. What do you have to say about creators that think too much about try to nitpick every detail? Like, what do you have to say about that, bro?
I think I was definitely that person for the longest time, especially like the more that you progress as a writer and an artist, the more you hate your previous work because it's
Right.
like my new chapters look so good, but then my previous chapters there's so many like errors and there's so many mistakes.
Mhm.
But I think I've come to the realization that people like what they like. Like no matter how good you get, some people are still not going to like it, and no matter
Right.
how bad your work was before, some people are going to like it regardless. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like no matter how good I get, there are some people who are never going to like Resume, and that's fine. That's you. That's your opinion.
Mhm.
That's what you like, right?
Right.
And no matter how shitty the drawings are, some people are just going to always love it. So like I've just come to that to it's just accept that. Like
it's
like you
subjective,
can
bro.
have like right, you can have the most you can have like the most like popular, most well-known series like Dragon Ball. Some people hate Dragon Ball. Like no matter how successful it becomes, some people are just never gonna like it. That's fine. So that's kind of the mindset I'm in right now. Like, right, like no matter how good I get, there's always gonna be someone that doesn't like it, and there's always gonna be someone that does like it. So
Right.
there's
Yeah.
nothing you can do about it.
Bro, Andy, tell him about
That's dope.
the OG chapter 1. Tell him about the OG bat.
Bro, I have
You have it on
two
hand?
different versions, and soon to be three. This
Oh, he has
was
it on
the
hand.
original
He has
version.
it on hand.
That's
The original
hard.
version.
That's hard,
And
bro.
he
You
He has
got
got
the
it on a
art.
OG
book, bro.
version.
You got it on a book. That's fire.
Yeah, bro.
I
And
didn't
the
know that
art
was
was
on a book,
really
bro. Nice, bro.
the art was just really like lackluster. You know what I mean? Like it was still readable, but it was just a hell of a lot of mistakes. I think like the page that I always look at and laugh is how atrocious the perspective and the anatomy on this page is. Right. And then like I compare it to this version, the new version. It's so much better. And I've been like I was telling Mello before we started, like I've been trying to like upload a third version where I have even more updates. So I've colored a lot more of the pages. I fixed up some of like the panels, and I added my one shot in there, so it's like an extra like 60 pages in there. So this one is 150, but the new one that I'm gonna hopefully release by the end of this week is gonna be like 210. And then I also and then I also
week, son. Yo, bro, you got color pages in them new ones too?
Hold on.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
But this one, right, the one Mello got, that one's only got like 2 or 3 colored pages. But I feel like, but the ones that are in color look pretty good. Right?
Link in the bio, bro. Like, go check it out.
Bro, I'm reading it on the thing, bro. I'm like, yo, like it transitioned from black and white, right?
Yeah.
And then it went to color. I'm like, yo. I like how you just threw the color pages and trying to flex, bro. I'm like, I see what you're doing, bro. I see what you're trying to do.
Yeah, man. But the new one that's coming out by the end of this week, I think that's like the final version. I'm probably not gonna change volume 1 again after that. That one has like a whole chapter in color. So I think that one's gonna be really cool.
Three remakes is crazy, bro.
Bro, but volume 2 is also like almost done. It was supposed to come out, but I was like, you know what? Let me add. I'm already at like 160 pages, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wait until I'm at like 200, then I'll release that one. So I feel like by January, at the latest, volume 2 should be
Rune Symbol. Everybody check that out, y'all. ND Mangaka. Check out that boy Rune Symbol, man. Check it out, man. He got it on. What hardcover, soft cover? What is that, bro? Where can they buy those books?
Glossy hardcover. Glossy soft cover, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Where can they buy those, bro? Where can they buy those, bro? Shout your thing out.
It's on Amazon. So if you just go on Amazon and you look up Rune Symbol manga, look them up.
Frozo's in the chat right now. He said, "I'm remaking chapter 1 every time his art improves."
Bro, the TikTok comments be getting in my head, bro.
Unk's getting wiser and wiser, bro, and so does his art, bro.
Hey, bro, do you like the Unk comments, bro?
I'm not gonna lie. At first, I did not like it at all, but I'm at the point where like I've just accepted it. That's just my identity. So you can't fight it. You just gotta accept it.
Oh, I'm dead, bro. I'm dead.
And what's funny is that like it started because like it was like one person in one comment section said Unk, and I replied to it and started like yelling at the dude, like, don't ever fucking call me Unk again and all this shit. And then after that, everyone just started saying it. So I was like, okay.
That's a lesson, bro. You can't let people know what bothers you, bro. Because once they know what bothers you, they're gonna run with it. Yeah.
That's
so you was blacking on that dude? Bro. You was blacking on. What did you say to him, bro?
Bro, I was just like, yo, I'm not Unk just because I have a beard doesn't make me Unk. Don't be mad that I can grow a beard and you can't. All that shit. and then everyone started saying it. I'm like, okay, fuck it. Like, you know what? I'm just
bro.
I can't practice anymore.
Internet.
Okay,
you can't beat the internet.
Let me ask one more question of you, Indy, as a writer. Cool. Okay, so I can't draw at all. Can't even draw stick figures. Would it be better for me to hire an artist or just bite the bullet and try to draw it myself, even though I can't draw? Because I do want to get it eventually off of the paper onto the internet and into books, just like you.
I think that you should definitely draw it yourself. And the reason why I say that is 2 reasons. One, like I said, like no one can do your vision better than you. Second of all, I think that as you learn, you can like cultivate your own art style based off of the inspirations of what you want your art to look like. But if you hire an artist, right, you can't, their style is their style and you just have to accept that, right? You know what I mean? So like, I think that like an art is like, it's not that hard to learn, right? Because it's like, I feel like the reason why a lot of people don't struggle to improve in their art is that like, they just don't have the right resources. Like they don't know how to study art. You know what I mean? A lot of people, they just draw and then just like over time, over the course of years, but like there is like, if you have the right resources, you can learn really quickly and improve very fast. So I say definitely try to do the art yourself. And then I also feel like art is really just not that important. Like it's good, but it's like, think of a story like Diary of a Wimpy Kid. The entire book is stick figures, so people still love it, right? You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have like, you don't have to be Yusuke Murata to be like to make a comic book and have people like it. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out Yusuke Murata, man. He be cooking.
Mm-hmm. Real one, bro.
Yeah.
A real one.
To be honest, I might do stick figures.
Bro,
I mean, hey,
Frodo said too is that if you hire an artist, it's probably gonna be like 150 bucks per page minimum. Because he said he looked, yeah, he looked it up before.
Per page.
like, I'm telling you,
That's
as
a
an
lot
artist,
of money.
I'm telling you as an artist, like especially the good ones, like if you even like, and I'm not trying to be rude because I'm also not a great the best artist in the world, but like if you want to hire like even like an NPC level artist, they're gonna charge like $150 a page. The good ones, like the professional quality ones, they're charging like $300 a page. So like if you're breaded like that, I guess, but I'm an artist and I wouldn't even do it. So
That'll segue into our next question. What is some advice that you can give like to improve your art very, very rapidly?
I say the best way to, I think for when it comes to manga, I think that the thing that you need to focus on is how to draw a person in perspective. And I think that like breaking down the human, like the body into like simple shapes, like circles and cubes, and trying to learn how to draw that into perspective. I think Figure Drawing and Gesture by Michael Hamden is a really good book to use. And it's like 90% pictures, so you don't even have to read. It's just like using your eyes. That just going through that book once, like skyrocketed my art like by like an insane amount. So I think that like focusing, because when it comes to manga, like most mangaka don't even draw backgrounds. So if you can draw a face well and like a torso in perspective, that's like 90% of manga, right? And then like even for like backgrounds, like worst case scenario, you just take a picture and turn it in black and like put it in grayscale, and there you go. There's your background. So like, I say like, I'm not even joking. That's what Tokyo Ghoul does. Like the entire like all of the backgrounds in this book are literally just pictures in grayscale. So if you can learn to draw a person in perspective, that's like 90% of the battle.
That's facts, bro. That is facts. Okay, so if you had to compare your writing style and or art style to any artist out there or mangaka out there, which one would it be?
I have to compare it. I mean, yikes. I don't really like the word compare. Because I'm not trying to be like another artist. I'm just trying to be like myself. But I would say what my work would look similar to is if you see the early artwork of Hiro Mashima. So like if you've seen Rave Master, the manga, if you look at like chapter 1 of Rave Master and you look at my art style, I think you can definitely see somewhat of a similarity there.
Mm-hmm. Shout out Hiro Mashima. Mello hates him.
Really?
Mello hates him. That's who makes Fairy Tail, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense. That makes sense. I going back to like the art style thing. I do honestly like that take that you said that it's like your own and that you try to make it your own, because there was a quote that came out the other day from Oda basically saying that he got shit on so hard for the One Piece art style because everyone was like kind of, it looked goofy, you know what I mean? Until he built it into the story it is today, and now it's that art style is recognizable like throughout like past just manga and anime. Like you can probably show that to anyone and they probably say like, yo, that looks like One Piece, or you know what I mean? You can tell what that art style is from. And I think it's better to do that, to create your own rather than trying to copy someone else, because then it's like, oh well, I think this might be drawn by Oda or this might be drawn by Toriyama, whether as opposed to if it was your own art style, you could say, that's ND's art style, that's Mello's art style, you know what I mean? It kind of gives you like an identity, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I think there's like, I don't know how to explain it, but there's like a certain like art style like in manga and like webcomic, that's like a very like NPC art style. Like I'm really not trying to. I promise I'm not trying to shit on like any other artists, but it's like it's just so like they're so standard. Like there's nothing like interesting about it. There's nothing unique about it. And then it's like when you compare it to like Oda's art style or Araki's art style, like it's so drastic how like there's so much more character in these art styles, and it's like it's safer and easier to try to like go with like this like generic style, but like trying to create a art style that is like unique to you, the artist, and unique to your story is much harder, and it's going to be a lot harder for people to appreciate. But I think in the long term, it's a lot more worth it.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Shout out Dragon Ball Z, man. Shout out Dragon Ball.
I would also argue that the story is a lot more important than the art style to captivate an audience.
What someone say, and I completely agree. They said a nice art style is like a pretty face. Like it'll attract you, but if there's no substance, like it's not going to keep you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's one thing you hate about being a mangaka, and one thing you love about being a mangaka?
I think one thing I love is I just love the process of like drawing and just like creating my story, and then afterwards just like looking at it and being like, damn, I really did that type shit. Just like just like holding like a book in your hand and just being like, damn, like this is really me, like I really did this shit, like, you know what I mean? But the downside is I hate the fact that like I have to promote it. You know what I mean? And it's like the fact that I have to go on social media and just like make all these posts trying to like talk about it and promote it and like beg people to read it. I don't know. And it's like, and all these people have shit to say, and it's like you just have to deal with it. And it's like part of being like a creative is that people are gonna like hate on your shit and talk shit about your work, because that's just part of the process. Like every like person, whether it's music or like art or writing, there are always been people who hate it, and it's just like having to just like accept that people hate someone out there looked at your shit and hates it, and you just have to cope with that. I don't know. I hate that.
There's a saying out there: if you got haters, bro, you're doing something right.
So,
sheesh. Talk that talk, bro. Shout out Rune symbol, y'all.
I got two.
What's the one shot? What's the one shot called again, brother?
The one shot is called A Fox in Sheep's Clothing.
A fox in sheep's clothing. Check that out too, guys. A fox in sheep's clothing. You good, man?
Two more questions, and then we'll have Sam and Swizz ask you if questions have any. Second to last question for me: do you consider Rune symbol do you consider Rune symbol a success right now? And if not, at what point will it be a success?
Do I consider it a success right now? Yes. And the reason why I consider it a success is because, like I said, my goal has only ever to be that for people to read it and like it. And the fact that you read it and you like it means that it's a success.
What are the numbers at Global Comics, bro?
I think it's almost at 400,000 on Global Comics. Oh.
Likes that number, bro. Likes that. Hold on, I'll pull it up right now. I was actually reading chapter 10 for the stream right now. I didn't get to finish it.
And what's crazy is that like I have to like that's just like the re-upload. I have to like delete it and upload it again. The re-upload.
I don't know if you can see that. 398K. 398K views. Man's doing
That's
it,
a
bro.
Flex.
Man's doing
That's
it.
a flex.
And last question for me. Do you have any tips and or advice for small mangaka / comic writers?
Yes. My advice is just start the work. I don't care that you have an idea. I don't care that you are trying to write the most perfect story ever. I don't care that, your art is not good enough. I don't care that you don't have any experience writing. Just start the story. As you progress, you're going to learn and it's going to improve. But if you're always waiting to get to that perfect point, you're never going to get to that point. And I don't care that you have an idea. You're not a mangaka because you have an idea. You're a mangaka because you made shit. So even if it's the worst shit to ever exist, you are still a mangaka.
Get some fucking bars.
Jump off that cliff. You're going to get farther. You're going to get further faster.
Mm-hmm. Swizz,
Kobe said lose fast.
Final questions for ND before we hop over to the fun shit?
All my questions are selfish. I have selfish questions. My next question
Okay.
is my writing style, because I don't really have an outline. I have the beginning, I have the end. I know how I want it to end, and I have nothing in between. I literally write the moments as they happen in real time in the story. I don't have like an outline. Things just kind of happen and they just kind of move forward. But I do have a goal set. So, do you think it'd be better for me to stop writing right now and kind of like outline the whole story? Or is it possible for me to continue the way I'm going and still finish my story?
I think it's possible, but it's not recommended. And the reason why I say it's not recommended is because if you just go on and on and on, like your story, it's not really going to have much direction, especially if you continue to like change your mind and change ideas. It's like by the time you get to the end, it will have like meandered so much that like maybe the theme that you're trying to communicate in the beginning is going to be so lost because you have like it's just been changed so much throughout the course of writing. I think it's better to have like an outline, maybe like centered around the main character. What's the main character's goal? Why is this their goal? And what are the main steps that it takes for them to reach their goal? It doesn't even have to be anything detailed. It can just be like a 5-sentence outline. Like it starts here, then they go here. This character dies. He has a realization. He changes his mindset, and they get to the goal. Right? Something simple like that. And then you can like build off of that. But if you have absolutely no idea what happens in the middle, and it's just this guy's parents dies, at the end he kills bad guy. Like they're like what's the question? Like I guess the question becomes, outside of just like cool things happening, what's the point of the story? The main character is supposed to sort of like their arc is supposed to be like the representation of a theme, whether it's like take like Thorfinn for example, like in the beginning his parents die, his like dad dies, he starts off on a path of revenge. He fails because Askeladd, spoilers, he fails because Askeladd dies. That causes him to change his mindset. And then we go towards the conclusion of the story, right? Like very, very, very simple, but like important points because we're trying to communicate a message. But like if we have nothing in the middle, we have no idea what's going on. There's just cool things happening with no substance. If that makes sense.
Trials and tribulations, bro.
Yeah, I try to set up the events as if they were leading to the goal, but I never plan out the events. The events don't have a plan. Things just kind of happen. And the main character is always moving towards the goal, but there's no plan. At least in my head. She has a plan. I don't know what her plan is.
But your main character is a girl, brother?
Yeah, her name's Beretta.
That's all. That's all. I love girls.
I like that name,
bro.
I think maybe even if you don't know what happens in terms of like the events, at least have like clearly defined character transitions. Like how does your character change throughout the course of the story? Even if you don't know like what exactly is the instrument of that change, like throughout the course of the story, how does your character go from like point A to point B? Like what is the point of this goal? Like how is this character transformed? At least like maybe they start off as a selfish character and then at the end they are a selfless character. And then maybe something happens that leads them to be that selfless character. Now we don't know what exactly that is. We'll figure that out later, but at least we know how exactly my character changes and what are like these like visible transitions that occur.
It's funny because that's the exact journey that she goes on. She doesn't really care about anything or anyone except accomplishing her goal. She's willing to step on anybody to get it done.
And that's very similar to like my main character and many other characters within my series. It's like I think a theme that I'm trying to play with is like how far are you willing to go at the expense of others to achieve a goal? I think that's like like the key theme I'm trying to play with. So like I have like these clearly defined transitions of like the character starts off not so sure and he becomes a very selfish character, and then because of his selfishness something really bad happens that forces him to change his mindset, and by the end he becomes a selfless character, right? So it's like even if I don't know what exactly causes those transitions, at least I know these are the key points that I have to hit throughout the story.
Right.
I appreciate that.
Facts.
Got you.